Train number 64. After a stop of approximately 10 minutes, the Amtrak crew will take over to bring you into the United States, where Customs and Immigration will perform their inspection. The scheduled departure time from Niagara Falls, New York is 11:45 a.m. For passengers detraining here in Niagara Falls, Canada, please remain seated as the train will make 2 stops at Niagara Falls Station. The first stop is to change the locomotive engineers to the Amtrak engineers. The second stop will allow you to exit at the station doors. Please be sure to retrieve all of your personal belongings before leaving the train. Once again, for passengers who are detraining in Canada, please wait for the second stop. On behalf of VRL Canada and the entire crew, it's been a pleasure having you on board with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. We do apologize for our late arrival, and we thank you for your understanding.
departure with limited station stops to Union Station. The train will not pull forward to Morris where board time is current location. Please line is on table line and get down the train in order to board on time.